Thank you, Negiji. Good morning, esteemed panelists, industry leaders, colleagues, and stakeholders. It's a privilege to be a part of this conference wherein we are collectively discussing the importance of CGD in the future of Indian gas-based economy. I represent Pipeline Infrastructure Limited, it's PIL. It's a pure gas transmission company. And today I'd like to share from the perspective of pipeline transmission company point of view, appreciating strongly the aspirations of CGD entities for the growth. Pipeline Infrastructure Limited is owned by Energy Infrastructure Trust. It's sponsored by Brookfield Asset Management Company, which is the largest investors in the infrastructure domain, with the total asset under management over $1 trillion US dollars and experience of more than 125 years. Pipeline Infrastructure Limited owns a network from Kakinada to Bharuch. It's around 1,500 kilometers of gas transmission network, which forms a critical part of an overall national gas grid in the country. Presently, we are transporting around 37 MMSCMD of gas, which includes at least 30% of the domestic production in the country, which means CGD being the prime user of domestic gas, we are catering to various CGD entities also through our transmission pipelines. Though directly we are connected at 17 places with CGD entities, but indirectly we are supplying through other networks, which is equivalent to 30% of the domestic gas. Now, if we see that CGD sector itself, which is at the forefront of transition to a clean energy fuel with the total consumption of 50 MMSCMD, and as Negiji also said that over 300 GAs have already been awarded, and which almost covers the full country in the terms of areas. So what we have seen that the CGD networks are at a place which represent more scalable and impactful driver of demand of natural gas, which is recently the ongoing disruption also demonstrated that the importance of the cleaner and reliable fuel like for the CNG and PNG has further supported this fact also. In fact, I am of the view that this is a beginning. The actual growth story of CGD is yet to be unfolded. There is a lot of potential in this sector to grow further, but at the same time, this sector is also facing certain challenges which needs special attention. One such attention is required in the area of demand creation. Though PNG and CNG demand is there, but the real growth of CGD lies in the demand from industrial and commercial sector. But to gain a demand in this sector, we need to address certain challenges there. One such challenge is with regard to the volatility of the price. We need to address that volatility of the price. At the same time, these small industries also faces the demand volatility. So these are the two major things which we need to address. And then the other critical challenge in CGD is that some of the CGD sectors are away from the nearest trunk pipelines, so that connectivity is required. Due to the, we can say, difficult terrain or a distance, connecting those CGD may not be financially viable. We need to look for some solutions for that. And if we see that these all major challenges are not isolated challenges, meaning thereby that these are not which can be addressed by a single entity. These are interconnected and collectively needs to be addressed. So my thought for today is towards how collectively we can address those issues. If we see that CGD and transmission entity, if I'll say, they are not competitors but a partner. And in fact, the whole supply chain, in the gas ecosystem, it is inherently interdependent. Whether it's a producer, it's a midstream transmission company, CGD networks, or consumers, all needs to work in sync. No individual entity can succeed in isolation. So that is the main, in fact, thought of my day, that we need to work in a collaborative manner. In fact, recently, while implementing the recent amendment in the unified tariff, wherein the unified zone 1 tariff was applied for a CNG, PNG customer, we have seen that through a collaborative and a continuous discussions between the CGD entities and transmission entities, we could implement that complex reform in a very seamless manner. So it demonstrated that together we can do whatever the complications are there, but we can do the things in seamless and collective, in a seamless manner and an effective manner. So I'll just give some thoughts on some possible solutions or a food for thought to develop those solutions so that we can address these challenges. One such option which I'll put forward to you is that, let's say, develop a market in a collaborative way. Let's jointly identify the clusters, demand clusters of industries. Let's jointly go to them and conduct some awareness programs and start discussions with state governments, or for that matter, even MSMEs where there is a high potential of demand is there, to bring them on board for to use these gas. The important thing, but in fact keeping MSMEs away from switching to natural gas, is the price volatility, as I said, and the demand volatility. What we can also think of a product called insurance product, which is there in the global market, wherein we can protect them from price fluctuations by providing them some stable price. We also protect them from demand shocks. There are also products which can provide some stability in that, which will not only give a stability to the gas price, which will help them to plan better and switch such customers for a long term on the gas. So this can jointly be worked out, some product in that. There can be some new entities also, new players in this area, which can play this role of providing this insurance product. In fact, recently we have discussed with one of the entities, they are ready globally, it's US based, they are ready to provide such product to the Indian customers. So we can jointly develop some product of this kind which can provide some stability of gas price, particularly to the small industries, because they want to focus more on their plant than deciding about the price fluctuations or to spend their time on managing the price things. So this one area where we can definitely jointly work something on that. Then with regard to the connectivity, we can have some innovative models. We can also have some mechanism to at least share GA's infrastructure which are adjacent to that. Even regulator is also open to such suggestions, and we can have effective use of infra through the sharing of infrastructure also. And wherever the pipeline connectivity is required, which is one of the major impacting some of the CGD entities to source the gas in a more efficient manner. There also we can jointly develop some model wherein in a collaborative manner we can develop some pipeline to connect those CGD networks. Similarly, if we see that we can also we can also devise some mechanism for a digitization to have some common platform where in fact industry committee is also pursuing with the regulator to provide that comfort to all the customers, including CGD entities, to have a capacity booking or even communication between the entities, between the transmission or a gas seller and the customers in a more efficient and effective manner, so that we can manage our gas portfolios in a better and efficient way. Instead of running to each and every transporter who is falling on the path, we can develop one single window where we can connect through all the transporters through that single window mechanism. This will help the customers in managing their gas portfolios, as well as for the day-to-day operations also, whether it's allocations are concerned or a nomination, those aspects are concerned. These can also be better managed through these type of window mechanisms. Similarly, there are certain isolated gas fields which are yet to be tapped. There are potential of that. We can devise some mechanism to connect those isolated fields with the nearest CGD entities. That will not only help in increasing the domestic share in the total gas availability, which in fact the role of domestic share we are seeing that how important it is to have our own sources, which helps in having a energy security in the current scenario, which is quite useful. And then domestic gas can be sourced in a more at effective and competitive pricing, and at the same time that will also help in reducing the imports of the country. So that another area which we can develop some, jointly develop some model to connect those isolated fields. Even government is also looking for some solutions to that, and they are even open to provide some funding also in that area. We had some discussions also with DGH on this aspect. So there can be some development, and instead of laying a big network, we can have some concept of connecting the nearby isolated fields and connect with the CGD entities in a more better way and economical way. And then at PIL also at its own has taken many initiatives, like we are providing flexibility to the customers, not only in entering the contracts as well as for operations of the contract. There are sufficient flexibilities to the CGD entities to reduce or to change their contracted quantities in aligning with their demands. So these are certain things which PIL is also doing. PIL is also now in the process of changing their software to bring better software so that will provide more flexibility to the customers, that can have a better communicating manner so that interaction is better and efficient. So which help customers to manage portfolios and to modify their quantities as per their demand and avoid penalties, if any, in there. Then another services which PIL is providing, in fact other transporters are also providing, which CGD entities, it is quite useful for CGD entities, is the imbalance management services, whereby customers can park their volumes, they can use that whatever the limited storage available in that available in the pipelines for managing their portfolios in a better and efficient manners. Now recently all transporters are also working towards taking CBG or blending CBG in the trunk pipelines, so that CBG can be taken to the CGD entities or other customers who are away from the source. So some discussions are already going on, some steps already PNGRB has also taken some steps by issuing a guidelines on that. There are further some gaps are there, discussions are going on at different levels to bridge those gaps also. So these are the ways where we are focusing to make the sourcing as well as the transportation of a gas in a very flexible, efficient and customer friendly manners. So we see that whatever the challenges we are facing or whatever the solution of these challenges are there, these cannot be done by a single entity. These are interdependent, and that needs a collaborative approach. So that is the thought of, that is my thought for everybody for today's discussion, that the future of India is, future of natural gas in India will not be built by individual entity. We need a unified ecosystem. We need to work in a collaborative manner. We can also plan for, in fact, whenever I get the opportunity, I advocate for that. We need to bring a concept of a collaborative innovation platform. We need some structural platform where we can collectively do some innovations and research work to bring more efficiency in the system, to bring more innovative or a new technology into the system. Globally, there are such type of platforms are available. Though independently we all are doing some research work, but it is better to have some common platform where we can collectively do some innovation work. That will not only be cost saving, time saving, and we also duplicacy of work will also be avoided in that way. And there in innovation, I am of the firm belief that collaboration is required, because the nature of our gas system is that whatever we are doing, if it is not fit for the customer, or if customer is doing something which I am not able to do, it is not of any use. So we need a collaborative, innovative approach to do some innovations, because to bring not only to bring the effectiveness in the cost, but also to efficiency and the new technologies. A lot of things are being done. AI is not is a talk of the day nowadays. So with the use of new technologies, AI, we can definitely bring more efficiencies in that. So in conclusion, what I like to submit that CGD entities and other constituents of the gas value chain need to work in alignment, have a common strategies, common advocacy points, and then have a collaborative approach that will definitely significantly accelerate the gas share in India and energy market going forward. So I'd like to close that with a forward vision that together in gas, together in growth. That's my take of the day today. Thank you very much.